Hi, my name is Benjamin Finley. I am the Director of Percussion Studies at East Central University here in Ada, Oklahoma. I'm going to be demonstrating the snare drum audition material for the 2010 first round of the Oklahoma OMEA All-State Band Audition season. This material is going to come from a book called Portraits in Rhythm by Anthony Cerrone. We have two etudes. We have an etude for Percussion 1, which would be primary snare drum, and then an etude for Percussion 2 and 3, which would be primary timpani and keyboard as well. I'm going to start with the etude for Percussion 1, the primary etude. This is page 8, number 6. From Portraits in Rhythm. Something that you want to think about before you play any kind of snare drum etude or an excerpt is having some kind of a plan for your rolls. How fast you're going to play them and how that's going to relate to the dynamics and how loud your rolls will be. So for instance, a faster roll speed or a faster hand speed is going to usually give you a more intense and louder roll sound. And a slower hand speed will give you a softer and less intense roll sound. So a hand speed like that will come out to a nice relaxed kind of piano roll. Whereas a hand speed like this, and moved in a little bit on the drum head, is going to give you a more intense sounding roll. So what you'll want to do as you go through this etude, because there are a lot of rolls in this etude, a lot of long ones, and they change dynamics constantly. You want to have some kind of plan of action using actual rhythms to get you through the slower hand speeds to the faster hand speeds and doing that smoothly. So for example, right off in the first line, we have this half note roll at mezzo forte. I'm going to play that at a speed that feels good to me. So we're going at 63 beats a minute. So I'm going to play, instead of 16th notes or sextuplets or something like that, I'm going to play something that's kind of in the middle. I'm going to play sevenlets. Okay, so if I play two sets of those, I'll end up right there on beat 3 with the 8th note. So rolling that, it sounds like this. So that's just kind of one example of how you can do that. Otherwise, with your roll sound, there are a couple of different ways you can go. You can either play what we call a crush roll, which is pretty much what I was doing just then. Or you can play what we call a 3-stroke roll, which is going to sound more open. 3 strokes on a hand instead of a buzz on each hand. So you can hear the difference in between these two. Sometimes I'll kind of use a mixture of both of those two. Sometimes I'll use more of a buzz sound for the softer rolls, and I'll open it up for louder rolls. That just kind of depends on the situation and the style. But what you don't want to do is play an open roll, like a rudimental roll, 2 strokes on a hand. That's not the kind of roll that we want to have in this orchestral kind of music. We want it to be either a 3-stroke roll or a buzz roll, so it has an orchestral sort of crushed sound either way, but not a rudimental sound. That would be a different style, so we don't want to do that here. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about rolls. Tempo control, since this is a slow etude, subdivision is really key. And rushing it is going to be very easy if you're not subdividing in your mind. So thinking 1, take, 2, take, 3, or even 1 T, take, 2 T, take, 3 T, take. You have a lot of rests to count, tricky rhythms to get through. So going through and subdividing all of that and writing in the counts, writing in specifically how you're going to count some of these tricky rhythms, that's going to be very important. You want to do that for sure. And then controlling all these dynamics. We have some real extremes in this etude. This is kind of the etude that may be the most extreme in terms of dynamics with the whole Cerrone book. We have dynamics ranging from 3 Ps all the way to 3 Fs with rooftop accents. So one way to control those, since we do have to switch kind of quickly from the loud to the soft or from the soft to the loud, is with our stroke type. And what I mean by stroke type is if it's a downstroke or an upstroke or a full stroke. So those three things are going to kind of help you get from one to the other. If I'm going from loud to soft, I need to use a downstroke. Soft to loud, I need an upstroke. So there are some instances of that. Down here, the very last line, for example, where we have this. Right there, we have to play a downstroke on that last fortissimo note to get down to pianissimo and move toward the edge of the head. Which is a tricky thing to do if you allow the stick to continue to rebound. It's hard to get it down for that, for sure. We have these rooftop accents at different points in this piece, and you'll find those in a lot of the Cerrone pieces for sure. And we want that rooftop accent not just to be a little louder, but to sound different. We want it to sound more crisp and have more punch to it. So a sound that's a little different than this and more like this. Two things we can do to make that sound happen. Most of the time when I'm playing on the head, most of the time I don't play in the center of the drum. The center is a little bit more dead. It's kind of the dead spot on any drum head, really, is the center of the drum, which is why you don't play in the center of a timpani head most of the time. But if I do want it to sound a little more articulate, I'll go ahead and play right in the center just for a moment to get that different sound. The very last measure of the whole piece, we have this. 30-second notes at fortissimo, 2 groupings of those with an 8th note, and then 2 30-seconds at a quarter note, all with rooftop accents. So to make that sound a little different and to stand out, not just playing it louder, I'm going to play in the center of the head. And the second thing I'll do is change my stroke a little bit. Instead of playing a relaxed, rebounding stroke like that, I'll grab the stick a little tighter, and I'll use a little bit sharper motion, and that'll kind of help make it punchy. Again, it's not the sound that I want all the time, but it's a sound that will help set it apart here. So we get this contrast. This is page 8, number 6 in the Anthony Cerrone's Portraits in Rhythm.